Los Angeles, California. Known for Hollywood, Disneyland, and as America's most famous UFO hotspot.
Los Angeles is a major UFO hotspot. The activity here is constant and seems to be escalating.
From the 1800s to one of the most deadly UFO battles of all time, this Southern California metropolis experiences it all, including lights in the sky and unexplained objects in the ocean. These sightings mystify the city to this day.
Are they truly coming from the heavens above, or is there something off the coast of California that we have yet to discover?
What do they want? Why are they here? The answers to these questions will change the way we see the City of Angels forever. Join us as the shocking source of LA's alien invasion is unsealed. A global effort has begun. Secret files hidden from the public for decades, detailing every UFO account, are now available to the public. We are about to uncover the truth behind these classified documents. Find out what the government doesn't want you to know. Unsealed Alien Files. Exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. November 1896. 7 years before the Wright brothers achieve human flight. Los Angeles is a small mining community of 50,000 people when local newspapers report mysterious sightings in the skies of California. It is the beginning of a phenomenon.
People were scared with what they were reading in the newspapers and even seeing in the skies above their heads. Because again, you didn't have anything to compare it to.
They are described as metallic, featureless objects nearly 125 feet long that hover in the night sky. The sightings soon moved down the California coastline to the budding metropolis of Los Angeles.
This happened years before LAX was ever a dream. Human flight had not even taken place yet. Whatever was in the skies above our heads was absolutely unexplainable.
This started a gigantic UFO wave, which involved not only sightings, but UFOs chasing cars down the road, UFOs landing, a number of abduction cases. It was really an extraordinary UFO wave of pretty much unprecedented proportions.
Sightings and accounts of attempted alien abduction are rampant until 1896. But the phenomenon exists to this day.
Did anyone report anything strange tonight?
June 14th, 1992. Police switchboards in Los Angeles are flooded with calls describing a very unusual sighting.
Normally when someone sees a UFO, there's maybe one or two UFOs. What's really unique about this situation in Topanga Canyon is the number of UFOs that we're seeing. And this, I'm not talking 10 or 20, we're talking literally hundreds.
Encountering multiple UFOs is a very rare occurrence. But what truly makes the sighting unique is how common it is in Los Angeles.
There are regions on this planet that seem to be a magnet for UFO sightings. In a short period of time, hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of cases are reported. We call these UFO hotspots.
These hotspots span the globe. Beijing, China, Brussels, Belgium, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles is a major UFO hotspot. The National UFO Reporting Service in Washington, the Mutual UFO Network, each receive reports on a daily basis. And we've got over 5,000 reports for California alone.
But one element makes LA unlike any other hotspot on the globe. A history of encounters occurring from Los Angeles to Long Beach and out to Catalina Island. Together, these locations form an activity-rich area that has become known as the Devil's Triangle of the West.
UFO sightings over Los Angeles have occurred pretty much since the inception of Los Angeles as the city itself. They started in the late 19th century, and they continue all the way to this day.
Now that Los Angeles is this huge, sprawling megalopolis, we are having, tens of thousands of reports of UFOs coming in. So many that, we can't handle.
But one event in particular made worldwide history. The night we went to war with a UFO. Coming up next, the Battle of Los Angeles has just begun, revealing the most crucial evidence of a UFO conflict in our history.
This is the first time that the U.S. military has opened fire on a UFO. We did not know what this object was.
And possibly exposing the true purpose of this hotspot.
How do UFOs get back and forth from outer space? The answer is they don't. They're right here in LA.
This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed, Alien Files. Widespread sightings from the 1800s to the present have earned Los Angeles, California the unique title of a UFO hotspot.
And where are these craft coming from?
But why is this sprawling metropolis, the second largest city in the U.S., victim of an apparent alien invasion? The answer dates back over 50 years. Unsealed Case File, The Battle of Los Angeles. February 25th, 1942. Only 3 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the city of Los Angeles is on the razor's edge.
We had just entered World War II. Los Angeles was fearing another Pearl Harbor type attack, but in Los Angeles itself, people were afraid they were next.
But on the night of February 25th, their fears become a reality. Suddenly, in the dead of night, 100,000 people are awakened in a startling city-wide blackout. Air raid sirens begin to blow, and citizens emerge from their homes to witness something in the skies over Los Angeles. The city appears to be under attack.
Nobody knows what this unidentified object is, and the military steps in and does what it does best. It tries to bring it down.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area. Searchlights closely followed the object down the coast and kept it centered in their glare.
The military converged on the scene. They focused searchlights on it, and they actually tried to shoot it down.
The soldiers at Fort MacArthur fire more than 1,400 anti-aircraft shells in a barrage that should cripple even the strongest aircraft. But the object appears unscathed.
No matter what the military throws at this object, we can't penetrate whatever is protecting it. We can't bring it down.
This sighting is called the Battle of Los Angeles for a reason. There was shrapnel falling. This was a total blackout, so there was a virtual panic. Actually, 5 people died. It was a big, big deal. This was a state of war we were in.
Watchers could hear the concussion of the guns more clearly, and the flash of bursting shells was brighter. Then the ship disappeared for the second time over the ocean.
After 1,400 rounds are fired at this thing, presumably it was undamaged because it just simply flew away out of the sight of the spotlights.
We were continually shooting at this object when it just drifted off back to the ocean over the way that it had arrived.
What invaded Los Angeles that night, and why couldn't we destroy it? Was it a Japanese warplane, or could it have been a craft from another world?
Even today, people will tell you, it never happened. It was a bunch of people panicking. Wrong. go back to February 1942 and look at the headlines in the LA Times. It was a real object.
Is this photograph from the next morning's Los Angeles Times proof that the craft we went to war with was not of earthly origin?
If you look at this photo, you can clearly see this very large, round, glowing object. You can actually see the rounds of ammunition exploding next to it. It's a remarkable photograph that shows what's clearly an unexplained object of some kind. I think the best theory that we have, honestly, is an extraterrestrial craft.
The day after the Battle of Los Angeles, President Franklin D. Roosevelt receives a secret memorandum detailing the event.
It wasn't until years later, actually, through the Freedom of Information Act, that we were able to get a copy of this memorandum, which basically proves that this event did in fact take place.
Shortly after Roosevelt reviews the report, a statement is released to the general public, one that tells a different story entirely.
The military can't identify what exactly this object was, but they had to explain it to the public. And what do? They simply claim it was a balloon. When you look at how much firepower was thrown at that thing and nothing touched it, that's not any type of balloon that exists even today. So you can't just simply dismiss this event with the military's explanation because it doesn't make sense.
Countless experts deny that any balloon could withstand such an attack, but the U.S. military sticks to their explanation to this day. But for those who were there that night, the question remains, where did the craft come from, and where did it go? In the decade to come, demands for an explanation would be met with government silence.
In 1947, Truman signed the National Security Act, which essentially concealed events like this and potentially future UFO events from the public's eye.
It wouldn't be until over a decade later that a charismatic young president would take office and demand that the truth be made public. A demand that may have cost him his life. Coming up next, military officials expose an incident, taking alien contact in Southern California to the next level, and evidence that the 1942 Battle of Los Angeles may not be our last. A secret so shocking, the government may kill for it. This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed, Alien Files. Since 1896, rampant sightings of unidentified objects have caused Los Angeles to be known worldwide as a UFO hotspot. LA's most famous encounter took place in 1942, when the city witnessed a military attempt to gun down an unknown craft. But the true identity of who invaded California skies that night has never been revealed.
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
2 decades later, newly elected President John F. Kennedy allegedly writes NASA asking for UFO information to solve the enigma.
10 days later, he was shot and killed, assassinated. This UFO subject was so top secret that even at the presidential level, he had trouble finding out the truth.
Kennedy was a transitional president, the potential to really change the course of the 20th century. And what we have learned is that his private agenda was a lot more radical than people knew at the time. He had big plans.
Could the need for UFO secrecy have led to the assassination of a president? A year later, we may have received an answer. In 1964, at the height of the Cold War, Officer in charge Robert Jacobs heads the photographic squadron at Vandenberg Air Force Base in Lompoc, California.
Robert Jacobs is one of the more important witnesses that have come forward from out of the military and agencies and even NASA with experiences regarding events that seem to clearly indicate an extraterrestrial presence here.
According to Jacobs, his mission was to film an Atlas missile test through all 3 stages of flight off the coast of Big Sur, hours north of Los Angeles.
We have ignition.
The Atlas was an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, developed and deployed by the U.S. military to deliver a warhead 100 times more powerful than the bomb dropped over Nagasaki. The missile he would film was outfitted with a dummy warhead.
It was his job to actually track this Vandenberg missile that was shot off, and he was filming it. And he did his job just as he was ordered to do. The missile failed. It mysteriously failed.
In his story, Lieutenant Jacobs states he returned to Vandenberg with the film to be developed. Immediately following their processing, Jacobs was ordered to report to his superior officer.
He was called into his superior's office, Major Mansman, and there were 2 plainclothes people there who wanted to question him about what had occurred. And they showed him actually the film he took of this missile being shot. This is where it gets really interesting.
According to Lieutenant Jacobs, at this stage, a saucer-shaped craft entered the frame.
It's maneuvering around this rocket, which is traveling at many thousands of miles an hour. And all of a sudden, it shoots a beam of light into the warhead at the tip of the missile. Moves around, does another one, moves around, does another one, and the warhead falls off.
The agents in the room take the footage, and Jacobs is told by his ranking officer that he is never to speak of the incident again. Could it be that Robert Jacobs and his team witnessed an alien presence defending their territory off the coast of Southern California? Like the Battle of 1942, this encounter exposes an alien craft seeming to protect the border between California's land and sea. Perhaps our most recent encounter can answer what these craft may be protecting. Unsealed Case File, The Hidden UFO Portal. On November 8, 2010, an event occurred striking fear in the heart of Los Angeles. An unidentified object came from the ocean and launched over the city up into the sky.
When the military was asked about it, they had no idea what it was. They couldn't identify it. The Pentagon, which usually gives an explanation for a UFO event, this time didn't have one.
So remember, there's always a discrepancy between what the military tells you it knows
look at this photo, you can clearly see this.
Were scared with what they were reading in the newspapers and even seeing in the skies above their heads. Because again, you didn't have anything to compare it to.
They are described as metallic, featureless objects nearly 125 feet long that hover in the night sky. The sightings soon moved down the California coastline to the budding metropolis of Los Angeles.
This happened years before LAX was ever a dream. Human flight had not even taken place yet. Whatever was in the skies above our heads was absolutely unexplainable.
This started a gigantic UFO wave, which involved not only sightings, but UFOs chasing cars down the road, UFOs landing, a number of abduction cases. It was really an extraordinary UFO wave of pretty much unprecedented proportions.
Sightings and accounts of attempted alien abduction are rampant until 1896. But the phenomenon exists to this day.
Did anyone report anything strange tonight? Maybe a little more specific.
June 14th, 1992. Police switchboards in Los Angeles are flooded with calls describing a very unusual sighting.
Normally when someone sees a UFO, there's maybe one or two UFOs. What's really unique about this situation in Topanga Canyon is the number of UFOs that we're seeing. And this, I'm not talking 10 or 20, we're talking literally hundreds.
Encountering multiple